Oh, hello, and welcome. Another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings and everything important since the dawn of time. February 20th edition, whole day. And, oh, look, somebody's taking a little snooze over here. Yeah, it's been a long day. What happened? What happened today? There's a lot. What didn't happen today might be a better question, or an easier question to answer. That is to say. 1824, the first dinosaur, Megalosaurus, was formally named on this date in 1824 by one William Buckland. Yeah. Imagine how arrogant that is, that like a blip on the human, or rather a blip on the timeline of Earth, we come along and say, I dub thee Megalosaurus. I dub thee Louie. When, like, you've been around a lot longer than we have. Yeah. But anyway, dinosaurs are neat. I think so. And probably so do you. What else? Roland West, born today, 1885, who was a film director in the 1920s. Who, in my humble opinion, was a genre horror filmmaker, even though he predates like the horror boom of like Dracula and beyond. That's to say, he worked on Lon Chaney's The Monster, which really is not a very good movie, or it doesn't hit the way I'd like it to. It's like played for laughs, and I wonder if that's not a hint as to what London After Midnight, if it was ever found, would be like. That it was like just too comical, and it just wouldn't play to modern audiences. And there's some great stuff in The Monster, some really atmospheric moments, but everything kind of gets eroded because it's, at its heart, this is a Scooby-Doo episode, as most of the haunted house type stuff was for the time. Also directed The Bat and The Bat Whispers, which is both atmospheric, excellent production value. The Bat Whispers, especially that opening scene, so good. Shot in 65 millimeter, it just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, these are great movies. And was he married to or dating Thelma Todd? He was definitely wrapped up in that whole hot toddy, questionable Hollywood Babylon mob hit, or not, or what. I don't know. Not sure. Peter Frukin, born today, 1886. I have here The Vagrant Viking. Have you read this here? No? I have not read it yet, but I've heard tell of this guy's story, and I had to track down this book, and now I just have to identify the time to read the goddamn thing, but he sounds absolutely incredible. How much of this do I quickly read to you? I don't know. Peter Frukin modestly looks upon himself as a vagrant, but the world knows him for what he is: an indomitable Viking, an illustrious explorer, a fearless and irrepressible wanderer into the unknown. Now at last he has found time to tell his whole fabulous story, and here it is, packed with fantastic experiences, taught with drama, sparkling with earthy humor and anecdotes. We love anecdotes. It's all here, from his uproarious childhood in Denmark Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn would have felt right at home with, to his recent scrape with immigration authorities on Ellis Island, timely, after he had tried conveniently to cut a little red tape and his friend Chirgiv Lee had to come to the rescue, and what wonderful stories of everything that happened in between, of becoming graciously seduced by a baroness in Copenhagen, of the strangest expedition ever undertaken in the Arctic, how he gave the name Thule to an Eskimo settlement, now a vital air outpost, why he suspected Dr. Cook's story of his discovery of the North Pole, ... how he had to amputate his own foot in the frozen north and set his broken arm in a cast of wet sealskin, of being buried alive in a cave of ice, of an encounter in Russia with a Norwegian communist whose name was later to become an epithet. Moving right along, Quisling, of a rare journey into Siberia, of trouble in South America over some shrunken human heads, of leading a Hollywood expedition to Alaska, of helping refugees from Hitler run the gauntlet of danger to freedom, of working for the Danish underground with a price on his head, of capture of the Germans who confiscated his peg leg to keep him from escaping, of escaping anyway, nailed in a crate, of rescue by the Swedish Coast Guard. These are but a few of the wonderful experiences that await you when you join Peter Frukin, the Vagrant Viking. I mean, sells itself, right? Sells itself. Jimmy Yancey, born today, 1894, boogie woogie piano player, proto rock and roll. Said it before, said it again. We'll continue to say it. Richard Matheson, born today, 1926, of I Am Legend, playing a Twilight Zone episode. It's, you know, Richard Matheson all the way. Huge fan. The film Freaks, premiered in 1932. Is that Todd Browning's masterpiece? Yes. X marks the spot. Billy Zoom, born today, 1948. Brian Gregory of the Cramps, born today, 1951. And last but certainly not least, fellow bandmate Poison Ivy Rorschach, born today, 1953. So what are you going to do today on February 20th? Well, maybe I'll find some time for that Peter Frukin book, but it's probably just going to be turn on some Cramps and let my mind do the walking of, like, those couple of really wonderful years where it was Brian Gregory and Poison Ivy together in the Cramps. And, like, what was that relationship like? I know that in, I would say, relatively recent years, she came out and, like, you know, gave some experience, some of her perspectives on it. And by relatively, I mean, like, probably the year 2000, 2001. I saw something posted about it recently, which were really personal and enlightening. But, you know, you have to wonder, like, are people going to be thinking about this for decades to come, generations to come? How long does all this live on for? Does somebody hundreds of thousands, millions of years from now come around and say, you know, I dub thee Megalosaurus, and this will be the Crampsosaurus. We're all dinosaurs in the rock and roll pit. I don't know where I'm going with that. Big ending. Da, 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 da. Till tomorrow. Goodbye.